Outdoors Delmarva covers everything outdoors,
including real hunting and fishing situations involving wildlife.
We do our best each and every week to keep it tasteful, but discretion is advised.
Now enjoy the show.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
This week on the show, we're catching a trip up an icy river for a waterfowl hunt out on the water. We've got some expert callers along, but will the ducks and geese cooperate for this end of the season effort?
There's still more back there. Look at all of them.
Then these Delmarva Boy Scouts are taking on the ultimate challenge at one of the biggest gatherings of the year. See the skills they're learning at the Klondike Derby.
Plus, clear winter nights have left open skies for stargazing. It's the hobby that combines astronomy with photography.
Right now on Outdoors Delmarva.
Look how big that crab is.
Good shooting, boy.
Nothing gets people excited like oysters. It's awesome habitat for fish out here in the bay.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. And now, here are Mike Parker and Captain Willie Dykes.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Mike Parker.
And I'm Captain Willie Dykes, and we're glad you could join us for another week of adventures.
Well, can you believe it, Willie? Here we are, beginning of February 2012 already. Man, as we said goodbye to the month of January, and we also said farewell to the bulk of the waterfowl seasons up and down Delmarva, save, of course, for some snow goose hunting still left on the calendar. And coming back to that, well, I did want to start off this week with a little bit of a recap of that hunt that you showed us last week here on the show, and tell us how this warmer weather has been playing a role.
Sure, Mike. We headed up into Talbot County a couple of weeks ago for the Eastern Church of God's annual goose hunt. Hundreds of hunters gathered for a day of fellowship in the field. Although, as you said, this warmer weather has kept the food supply thriving, and the geese just don't have to move off into the fields as much to feed. They've just been happy to stay put, feeding in one place and resting on the water. So while we had a lot of fun, unfortunately, our group of hunters only walked away with a single goose for the day.
Well, sometimes that's just how it goes. But you know, Willie, I did think it was important to, for some reference, to show where you were hunting up in that blind by that field in Talbot County, because it was definitely quite a bit different from the place that I was hunting just a couple of days later. Because if the birds were going to be hanging close to the water, well, so were we. On one of the coldest mornings of a relatively warm winter to date, setting off in a boat up to Langford Bay near Rock Hall, Maryland, came with its own set of challenges.
We're kind of like this.
Well, which way south? Which?
That's east.
That's east.
Yep.
West.
That's west.
Once we got our bearings and located the blind, Dale, Steve, and myself didn't have long to start dropping in a few dozen decoys into a realistic spread amidst the ice, because the sun was on the rise, quick, and a few early birds were already flying in close.
Oh yeah, there's ducks in the decoy.
On a high tide, the bay is about chest high around the blind, so being dropped off by boat was a good thing. And once we got settled in, we could only hope this elevated spot about 30 yards from shore would produce. Even with a wind, it wasn't quite in our favor.
Well, we're set up here. We got a bunch of goose floaters out and some V-boards in front of us, and the wind's not exactly where it needs to be for this blind. It's kind of coming over our right shoulder a little bit, but the ducks that came in seem to get in the hole pretty good for us already, so we're just looking forward to some more birds getting up.
Now, if you recognize any of these guys, it's because we've hunted with them a time or two before. Now, the Goey Hunting Calls crew hails from PA, but they frequent Delmarva for a real waterfowl fix. And from a bitter cold morning in a blind on the Lipsick River to hunting in the past season's nor'easter, we usually have a pretty good time. And this morning was looking to be no different. Just past opening shooting time, a lone duck approaches the spread, and the guys come up shooting, including Dale Jr., while Dale Sr. is quick to get in the boat for the retrieve of what turns out to be a nice-sized Gadwall hen.
Pretty big duck.
For the next few hours, though, despite a good number of ducks taking a peek, hardly any seemed to want to commit. And these hunters' attention turned to bigger prey, and the increasing number of Canada geese flying into the coves to our east and to our west. And just a few minutes later, it's trigger time. with the honkers coming in quick, a few precisely placed BBs do the job nicely. And this time, we're along for the ride when Steve and Dale Sr. go to pick them up.
Big old bird, man.
Oh, we had a bunch of geese get up off the water. BT and I were watching the right side, and I think we had 6 geese finish in. The wind changed a little bit, about 45 degrees the other direction, and the geese finishing on the other side of the decoys, and the boys on the left side of the blind got themselves a few.
While our luck seemed to be picking up with the addition of this nice pair of Canadas, it seemed every time we left the blind, more birds would flock in.
There's still more back there. Look at all of them.
And we had to be quick to get back out of sight. But while you can help make your own luck, making a good shot is something you can't fake. And when 3 more geese get into the spread, they're able to get out too. And same goes for a lone duck, who snuck up at the back of the blind when it seemed everybody was waiting for everybody else to shoot, until it was simply out of range.
We were landing on the edge of our decoys, you know, a little bit not out of range, but not as close as we'd like them. Hard to hit.
And for the next few hours, with the cold setting in, the calling continues, but the birds are fewer and further between. But with daylight now at a premium, we did manage to get one more shot before shutting her down, when I placed the camera on top of the blind, and this lone goose attempts to finish right out front. And the whole gang pops up, and it's the best shooting of the day. A total of 6 geese and a duck all adds up to lucky 7. And each of these hunters lucky to share an outing like this.
Get outdoors, Delmarva.
Still to come on Outdoors Delmarva, it's one of the biggest gatherings of local Boy Scout troops for the entire year. We'll check out the challenges at the Klondike Derby. But first, did you know? When not in flight, Canada geese spend time on both land and on water, like the Langford Bay. On average, what is the percentage of time spent on land to water? Is it 50-50, 30-70, or just 10% of time on land versus 90% on water? The answer when we come back.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Ocean City Tourism, Shorts Marine, and Shooter's Choice. Outdoors Delmarva will be right back.
There's still more back there. Look at all of them.
Did you know? When not in flight, the average Canada goose will spend a 50-50 split of its time on both land and water. Most time on land is spent eating and nesting. Time on the water is spent resting and avoiding predators.
Did You Know is sponsored by North Bay Marina.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Captain Willie Dykes. Now, Boy Scouts from all over Delmarva gathered here at Camp Nanticoke on Marshy Hope Creek in Dorchester County for the Klondike Derby. And snow or no snow, they'll still be traveling by sled. A gathering of Boy Scouts recently on the banks of the Marshy Hope just outside of Rhodesdale might seem like any other, with 2 notable exceptions. The first is the sheer size of this 3-day event.
Kansas Scout Reservation is 1,100 acres.
We have 400 scouts and leaders, approximately, and 34 Boy Scout troops and 5 Cub Scout packs.
And the second, these scouts are traveling the trails that wind through Cape Nanticoke by dog sled.
It's sort of based on the olden days in Alaska, where men would get on their sleds and go from town to town.
Welcome to the 2012 Klondike Derby.
Boom, shaka-laka, boom, shaka-laka.
Each scout troop builds their own sled, and no 2 are quite alike. The scouts are limited only by their imagination.
That's our horn.
We got a truck, a rig. There's it's all wired up inside. The lights work. Cardboard, just real thick cardboard.
And it's metal.
It's cardboard and thick.
There's your horn. Your red headlights.
But some scouts prefer a more traditional approach.
The frame is made of oak, and this is made of pine. I had to steam the wood here to get it to bend like that, and it's laminated line weaved into this frame here. If you don't have teamwork and cooperation, it certainly doesn't work. So you can imagine just what the true Klondike men felt like when they were hauling things like this up north to get the gold.
Each sled has a set of runners, but given this mild Delmarva winter that we're enjoying, wheels are allowed. The scouts earn points by completing various activities throughout the camp. Some are just plain fun, like this station for disc golf.
Watch out! That was on film. You are good, Alex!
Most of the other stations are more practical. Here, scouts will test their teamwork abilities by completing a structure using their lashing skills. Of course, map reading skills are essential in scouting.
So we have given each patrol a map with 2 spots on it that mark locations. One is here where we currently are at the pavilion, and the other is somewhere on the property, and they're trying to determine how far it is from here to that other location and what direction it is.
What was this?
Yeah.
Tracking wildlife is learned at another station right here on the muddy banks of Marshy Hope Creek. We were coming up empty, however, apparently the only wildlife daring or foolhardy enough to brave the Delmarva mud or certain Boy Scouts.
Oh, really?
Maybe the most interesting station of all was this one. Scouts must build a fire, then bring the water in this paper cup to a near boil without burning up the cup. These guys soon learn that oxygen is essential in getting a good fire going, and lessons learned here may one day prove to be a lifesaver.
I would make hot chocolate with that. That'd be good.
The scouts will also get this terrific patch for their hard work and effort, but the fun and camaraderie experienced by these Delmarva scouts make this winter extravaganza a must for all young people who yearn for the great outdoors.
Get outdoors, Delmarva!
Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, we've got an eye to the nighttime sky. Check out the hobby that combines astronomy with photography. Plus, you won't want to miss this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards.
We saw the snowstorm transform a woodland into a magic kingdom.
This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Now, let's get back to the adventures.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Mike Parker, coming to you from where I can only describe as a back road somewhere in the greater Millsboro, Delaware area here in Sussex County. Yeah, we've been driving around tonight. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, trying to find the darkest possible spot. And that's because we are hunting. No, not wildlife. We're hunting stars, and more specifically, a meteor shower, the quadrantids that we're expected to see tonight out of the northwest sky. I've been doing a little messing around with the video camera tonight, and besides a beautiful shot of the moon, it's really hard to pick up the stars with such darkness. But I did bring along a friend who has a great still camera and the motivation to catch some of this natural phenomenon on camera.
We're out here in the middle of nowhere trying to find a place with no light so we can film into the northern sky and try to see these meteors somewhere between 3 and 4 o'clock this morning.
And if you can't already hear it in his voice, it was cold that night.
22-degree weather.
So trying to be hot on the trail of passing meteorites wasn't exactly comfortable. But when something only happens once a year and it's a clear night, Buddy Jenkins wasn't about to pass up the chance.
Well, I'm an amateur photographer, and then at Christmas time I got a telescope, and I got interested in the stars and the planets and Jupiter and the moon and all that. And then one of my papers I got where I could, it told me that the morning of the January 4th, that this meteor shower is going to be. So I got the bright idea to come out here at 3 o'clock in the morning and see if we could catch some.
After finding some internet instructions as to where to best spot a quadrantid this early morning, Buddy put his camera on a special setting, keeping the shutter open for 30 seconds at a time, and hopefully catching on camera any movement in an otherwise stagnant sky.
So that what I do is leave it on for like 15 minutes to a half an hour at 30-second intervals, and then I can put all them together.
As you can imagine, combining astronomy and photography takes patience and practice, and Buddy is just getting started in this emerging hobby. But after a night of shooting the Delmarva sky, take a look at this. Sure enough, it is mission accomplished, and he's clearly captured a collection of shooting stars. In this case, some of the quadrantid meteors.
Hopefully we'll see some more later on.
You're not cold, are you?
Yes, I am.
Now, Buddy is hoping to find others in the area who share his hobby and share some pictures or techniques. Mostly share the enjoyment of catching something so special on camera, like this distant light show just bright enough to see once in a year, but memorable enough to last a lifetime.
And now it's time to check in with an old friend. Here's this week's Scorchy's Corner Classic.
Snow is the price we pay for summer, but can it be considered a price? Or is it nature's wintry reward for the dog days of summer? That can only be decided in the eye of the beholder. A week ago, all eyes beheld. Ours beheld a world of stream and wood, kindled to a white flame of beauty. Scorchy Taws wandering our Delmarvelous land for WBOC News.
Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, we're gearing up with some items designed to keep you safe. Check out the latest in personal protection.
You're watching Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Here's Mike Parker.
Thanks for watching Outdoors Delmarva. I'm Mike Parker. Back here with our friends again at Shooter's Choice, located on Route 13 in Dover, Delaware. As we've shown you in the past, it's the place to come for all of your hunting and outdoor shooting sports needs, but they've also got you hooked up when it comes to personal protection. Joining us right now, Dave Lawson with Shooter's Choice. Hey, Dave.
Thanks for coming back.
Great to see you. We always love stopping in, seeing what you're up to. Now let me ask you this. Someone comes into the shop and they ask you about personal protection. What do you tell them?
Well, first we want to find out what their skill level is, whether they've never handled a firearm or whether they're an accomplished gun handler. And then we'll take it from there. We'll take them through if they're basic. We'll take them and recommend some training to them.
All right.
And we can take them from start to finish. Look at the bead way down in there.
All right, so we've gone through some training. You've decided to purchase a firearm. Dave, how can you help me?
Well, there's such a variety of guns out there, makes, models, designs, calibers. What we will do is see what fits you best, what grip works for you, what caliber works best for you, and what your need is.
And when it comes to making that selection, they've got all the brand names you recognize: Springfield, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Sig, Walther.
We've got every make, model, and caliber you can imagine. We can fit you with a firearm.
All right, so we've gone ahead and made that handgun purchase. So Dave, how do we carry it?
Well, Mike, the holsters are specifically designed for the gun that you have. They're set down by design, by model, by caliber. You can see them. They even come in various colors. You've got the brown and the black. You've taken on the responsibility of purchasing a firearm. Please be responsible enough to protect your hearing and your eyes. You only have them once.
Well said. Dave Lawson with Shooter's Choice. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. From answering those questions about personal protection to helping you select the right firearm for you, to protecting that investment along with yourself and your health. Shooter's Choice here on Route 13 in Dover, Delaware. Always on target. We'll be right back. Coming up next on Outdoors Delmarva, He's a prognosticator, and we're awaiting his big decision. Plus, your viewer pictures.
Outdoors Delmarva viewer pictures are sponsored by Shorts Marine. This is Outdoors Delmarva, presented by Gateway Subaru. Higher standards. Sponsored by Ocean City Tourism, Shorts Marine, and Shooter's Choice. Now, let's get back to the show.
It's time now to take a look at some of the pictures and videos sent in by our own Outdoors Delmarva viewers. Kellen Dubuque from Wycomico County had a heck of a birthday recently. Schools were closed, so Kellen went goose hunting with his brother Camden and their dad, JP. As you can see, Kellen had something to do with his own present, shooting his first ever Canada goose on his special day. Great shooting.
Mark Andrew of Federalsburg did pretty well archery hunting for Sika deer this past season. He's seen here with a nice 4-point stag taken in Dorchester County.
Jay Houck from Meyer, Delaware says last week's segment on the Fly Tying Club up in Lewis inspired him to get outdoors. This nice bass was caught in a farm pond using a fly rod rigged with a conehead minnow.
Well, we love sharing your outdoors videos and pictures here on the show, so please keep them coming. You can email me at mparker@wboc.com and make sure to like us on Facebook. And you can post your videos and pictures right to the Outdoors Delmarva Facebook page. Well, Willie, it's been another great week of adventures.
Wait a minute, Mike, what's that over there?
Where?
Over on the hill.
Willie, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that is a Delmarva groundhog doing some prognosticating.
Well, let's go over there. I got a question for that boy.
All right. Well, he's a big boy, isn't he, Willie?
Yeah, he is. Well, Mike, there's no doubt about it. There's his shadow.
Yeah, if my history serves me correctly, then that means that we've got 6 more weeks of winter ahead.
I guess so. Is that right, fella?
Whoa. Well, I guess there's your answer, Willie. He retreated back into the hole until it gets warmer out here.
Well, I guess it's time for us to go too, Mike.
I agree. Until next time, for Captain Willie Dykes, I'm Mike Parker, reminding you to get outdoors, Delmarva. I don't even really see a hole here. That's a magic groundhog.
I don't know.
He's
quick. Taken up.
Yeah.